right. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks. I don't have much of a voice. Been talking on the call-in line too much. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks, to Sam Hartman is officially coming to Notre Dame. Will there be a quarterback competition, and what might that look like? And what are the positive and negative effects of that on Notre Dame long-term edition of the Always Irish Show? Long introduction of the show title. There's just a lot going on. YouTube, hit subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps me as well. Notifications on. That way you'll be alerted every time a new episode drops. You don't want to miss it. Twitter, search bar Always Irish or at Always Irish Inc. Emails, alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Fighting Irish Wire. Tune in every day. New articles about Notre Dame. So, we're finally here after much speculation. Hartman tweeted out he's indeed going to play for Notre Dame for his sixth and last year of college football. Now, the next logical question is, it's about the quarterback room. What happens now? What happens to the pecking order? The line, A, B, and C, 1, 2, 3. What happens with that? How should it go? How do you want it to go? What's the fair way for this to go? Does fair not matter to you in this business? To an extent. This is tricky. All right? And so, what happens now? Let's get into this. Last year, Freeman took a big risk with no transfer quarterback. And that meant that whether it was Buckner or Pine starting, either way, you were going to have a guy with almost no experience. If the plan went perfect, the plan went horribly, and the guy who won the job got injured, and it really affected things and put a lot of extra stress and hardship on Marcus Freeman year one that he didn't need. There was already going to be enough of it. He didn't need this. It didn't help. It didn't help matters. So that's tough. All right. So that's the most important thing to note in all of this discussion. If you said to me, I really liked what I saw from Buckner in the bowl game, he's trending up, and now you're going to do this, and Hartman's body of work, if he beats Buckner out, I don't know about that. Here's what this is. This is insurance. This is risk mitigation to prevent what happened last year. And I totally understand it. Freeman cannot risk being in that position again. And it's like, well, John, what about the loyalty to the guys that are in the program and wanting them to develop and giving them a chance? And they've been more invested in Notre Dame longer and all that. Yeah, that was last year, Tyler Buckner, and it blew up horribly in Freeman's face and almost ruined the whole year. That's how that went. That's how that went when he tried to do what some people are asking him to do now. Be loyal, go with the guys there, develop, tried it last year, got burned. He simply cannot afford to risk that dynamic again. That's why we're here. He cannot risk that again. So he went out, landed the best quarterback in the portal. Now, what I hope after this, no matter what, I hope the next thing that comes from Notre Dame is homegrown talent that recruit and develop at Notre Dame 3-4 years, stability, culture, all that. Minchie, Carr, get him in here, develop all that. That's where I want us to get. But we're just not there yet. But that's where I think we're going to get. You know, we all wanted more talent in this room. Hartman, Minchie, Carr gives you more talent in that room. Now, Reese has to develop it with those younger, maximize it with Hartman, and develop it with the other guys. And if we end up in a position where Hartman's starting, that guy's seen it all, done it all, there's no excuses not to have a good offense. So that's one great thing about this is, you're going to find out a lot more about Tommy Rees being able to open this offense up and having no excuses of the quarterback limiting what they could do, if it is indeed Hartman that gets the job. Okay? So, but what about Buckner? Where does this put him? What do you do with it? Is this a competition? Was Hartman guaranteed the job? What happens? People were mad that I even made the thumbnail cover when Hartman announced to Notre Dame. I had QB1 on there and people got mad. I just needed to, we just needed to use the thumbnail somehow, fill up the space. People were mad. People did not like it. Saying, how dare you call this guy QB1? He hasn't even been at Notre Dame. So you have this debate of, was he promised a job or will this be a competition? And Notre Dame people are debating. Either way, I think it ends with Hartman starting if him and Buckner are both healthy. But you kind of hope it was a competition. Like, I can't see Freeman saying, yeah, don't worry about it. Just come in here and chill out. You're number one. I don't think that would ever happen. But I do think a guy with Hartman's body of work isn't worried about it because he thinks he can beat Buckner in the competition. So, no, I don't think he was assured the job. I think he was told there's a competition and he's confident he's going to win it. Because the other guy has almost no body of work. And the whole point of this is risk prevention. So that's what I think this is. And I don't think it's a year in, year out thing. Notre Dame's going to the portal. No, they want more program stability than that. They're just not there yet. They have to build towards that. And that's what a lot of this is. It's just setting it up is uncomfortable. And there's just a lot of dynamics that just are incongruent. Like Hartman being dropped right in the middle of a period where it looks like Buckner's trending up and is healthy. But it is what it is. It is what it is. But if you have a competition between Hartman and Buckner, somebody tell me what you would have to see to pick Buckner other than heartstrings. He's been around a long time, had bad luck. He's a name. We've wanted to see this guy get a chance to prove what he is. There's a lot of built-up loyalty Notre Dame fans have for Buckner, considering we've barely seen the guy. There just is. So, but other than that, I don't see the argument for Buckner to beat out a guy with this body of work. And it isn't like Jack Cohn body of work. This guy actually has like upper level work. Right? And so I just think, how is Buckner going to compete with 5 years of documented production? All those accolades. So other than allegiance, because he's been a Notre Dame guy forever, what would make you pick him in that matchup against a guy with 77 touchdowns in the last 2 years and 8,000 yards? That's where I struggle in this. Other than allegiance to Buckner, because we finally want to see what it might look like if he could do everything and be healthy. We finally want to see that, and now it looks like I'm not sure how that's going to happen or if that's going to happen. If you want to tell me he's a more dynamic runner, I might give you that. And then the next sentence out of my mouth would be, in no way does that overtake Hartman's body of work and track record of reliability. It doesn't. Even if I concede Buckner's a better runner, that does not give him the job over Hartman. It doesn't. So it's tough. It's tough because I think what is Freeman and Rees want to give Buckner every opportunity to develop and win and all of that. But at the same time, that's what they did last year and got burned, and they can't do it again. And this guy's available, interested in Notre Dame. So you end up in a tough dynamic. And go figure, Tyler Buchner ends up in a tough dynamic. Every dynamic he's been in Notre Dame's been tough. Tyler Buchner's had a rough run. Bad luck, bad timing, or bad luck and bad timing. That's been this guy's deal. It's just rough. It's rough. Here's how I look at it. Hartman provides stability and upside. Buchner only provides the upside. Right? Like that's what I mean. There's a baseline of play from Hartman. You know what you're going to get. He has 5 years body of work. You don't have that out of Buchner. He has almost as many pick sixes as he does touchdowns for Notre Dame. Like, when I say risk mitigation, I mean, it's against the injury and that unknown. So that's how I look at it. Hartman provides stability and upside. Buchner only the upside. And that was the position last year that burned Notre Dame. And they can't do it again. And it just so happened, this guy might be good enough to beat Buchner and be the starter and not a backup with experience, but a lower level guy. So I get that it's a very uncomfortable dynamic. And I get that it feels almost disloyal in a way to talk about Hartman coming in here and he has a job, but Buchner's been here all these years. It finally looks like it's his time. Maybe this is where we just need to defer to Freeman and trust his judgment on what's best for the program next year. Because I get it. I get it. I feel this uncomfortableness. But I think this is some of what you have to go through to get Notre Dame to the next level are some uncomfortable dynamics and conversations and situations. Too much comfort in Notre Dame's a bad thing. Right? And it's just rough timing for Buchner all across the board at Notre Dame, no matter what. And if he leaves, it's sad, but it's just like the reality of this is we don't have 7 years to get Buchner developed to see what he turns into. Right? You just don't. You don't. His development's already behind about 4 years. You don't have 7 or 8 years to figure this out. Like, you don't. And it may just be bad luck and nothing Tyler Buchner did wrong at all, but bad luck that it doesn't work out. I don't know. If he doesn't get the job in spring, does he leave? Because then he could go play for another team next year right away. He don't have to wait till next year to figure this out. Is that something Buchner would do if he doesn't get the job in the spring? Just leave? I don't know. And I don't know if I'd blame him if that is the case. He might say, I've had nothing but bad luck, bad timing here. I'm ready to go try somewhere else. Damn it. I couldn't blame him for that. Couldn't blame him for that. It's cutthroat, folks. Not fair at times, just like life. Just like life. And the other part of this is it's humorous in the most depressing way possible. Notre Dame fans are not used to the idea of having more than one quarterback in that room they want to see play. People want to see Hartman play. You want to see Buchner play. You're going to want to see Minchie play. You're going to want to see Carr play. Notre Dame fans are not used to having multiple potential high-level options in the quarterback room. We're not used to it. So it seems weird. And it's like, oh, who are we going to offend or who might have to lead? That's the way this goes at the top level. So it's cutthroat. And I just think we're not used to having multiple quarterbacks we actually want to see play and start. So it's a good place to be. But these dynamics are very, very tricky. I didn't even mention Angeli. I didn't even mention Angeli. I don't know what happens with him. I have wanted Tyler Buchner to be the guy just as much as anybody, just as long as anybody. But I always say, my ultimate Notre Dame loyalty comes down to what's best for the program, not my feelings about individuals. And in that regard, we have no choice but to lean back on Freeman and Reese and trust their judgment that this is the best path for the program moving forward. And if that means Buchner stays and competes with Minchie the next year to finally get his time in the sun, great. And if it doesn't and he does something else, well, then you have Minchie Carr, and then you got a guy after that, and you have a higher potential ceiling level of what you could get out of them, then it's on Reese to develop them, which is still a big question I have. So this is a tough spot to be in for Buchner. I feel for the kid. I also don't blame Reese and Freeman. They have to protect themselves from what happened last year. And everybody has to understand and respect that. Even Buchner has to understand. Them rolling with him last year and him getting hurt screwed everything up. He's got to understand that they can't be in that position again. Even if it's at his expense. He has to understand what it does to a football team to have your starter go down and then a guy with barely no experience behind him have to play most of the year as a starter. He gets that. So, really tough spot to be in. And I just think it's uncomfortable. Probably for Buchner, probably for Freeman, for the fans, how you're supposed to feel about all this. But the one thing you can know for sure is this. If there's one thing you take away from this conversation, it's the talent in that room is getting better, fast, and that's good. That's good. When Notre Dame ends up where you're like, well, I don't know which of these guys I prefer because I like what they both do, we're not used to that. We're not used to that. So this is all trending in the right direction, but there is some uncomfortable to this. There is risk mitigation, folks. You could not risk being in the position we were in last year when Buchner went down, and that was our setup until Hartman. And Freeman can't risk it, and he knows it. So now we're in this dynamic, and we'll see what happens. But the big thing is trending up. Talent's trending up. Heading in a good direction in the quarterback and the offense and all that. I feel like we're trending up. But what this looks like this spring could be very, very interesting. And there are a lot of ways this could go. Get your popcorn ready. What do you guys think?